Need a muffin for a bake sale or an easy weekend breakfast?
Welcome to Ghost Host Kitchen. We're Sean and Heather. Today we're going to show you how we make bakery-style peach muffins.
We're going to start by skinning some peaches. You're going to want about almost 2 cups of them, and after you remove their skins, you're going to slice them and take the pits out. Now, I cut the peaches into 6 or 8 segments, but how you do it is completely up to you. After you have pitted your peach, go ahead and cut each segment into small bite-sized pieces and set them aside. We'll use them later. You may also want to save the peach pits and see if you can grow a peach tree with them. I can't say that I have, but I have had good luck growing vegetables from seeds that came with the vegetables that I purchased at the grocery store. Just an aside, something for you to consider. If you want to do this with blueberries or raspberries or something else, this recipe would work just fine. Just swap out the peaches. Alright, so now let's prepare our ingredients. First thing we're going to do is we're going to measure out some sugar, and then we're going to crack a couple of eggs into a small bowl. You always want to crack your eggs separate. You never want to put them into your batter because sometimes those shells will fall in with the egg. You don't want to fish eggshell out of your batter. Then we're going to measure out some vanilla extract and also some whole milk. We use whole milk in baking because it tends to work better. Then we're going to spoon our flour and our baking soda. We're going to put those into pinch bowls along with some baking powder as well as salt. Salt is a very necessary ingredient for baking as it brings out the flavors of the ingredients. Now at this point we can preheat our oven, and we're going to do that to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let's get to making that muffin batter. Start by combining your dry ingredients. That's your flour, your baking soda, your baking powder, and your salt. Just put those into a bowl, and using a whisk or a fork, mix them together. You want them well combined. You want to do this step before you add your wet ingredients. It just helps everything to be consistent throughout the entire recipe. One of the worst things there is finding a lump of baking soda in a baked good. Now once you've done that, add in a little bit of allspice and some cinnamon as well, and go ahead and give that a stir and mix it in. Again, making sure that those spices are incorporated throughout all of your dry ingredients. Just going to spread that flavor around. Okay, so let's start with the wet ingredients. Now you can see here we have a stick of room temperature butter that we have creamed with some brown sugar, about half a cup of it. You notice their bowls here, they're very pretty. My wife loves beautiful bowls, and she got these because we saw them on 2.5 Men. Alright, to our creamed butter and sugar, we're going to add our 2 eggs. These eggs should not have any shells because we mix them in a bowl by themselves. And then we're going to add some sour cream. Now we had previously measured this out, so no worries. And then we're going to incorporate our vanilla extract, and then using a hand mixer, just beat it all together. At this point you have a mix that is really kind of unappetizing looking, but that's okay because we're going to take care of that now. So those previously mixed dry ingredients, just go ahead and put them in. You can either put in the entire bowl or put it in small batches. Either way works just fine. Then use your hand mixer to incorporate all this. And as you can see, it looks like batter now. In fact, it looks pretty decent. So now you want to pour in your peaches. And then rather than use the hand mixer to mix them in because those will bruise it, it would be better to stir them in using a spoon or spatula, large silicone spoon, something like that. But you want to treat those peaches gently, so don't use the electric mixer on them. Now let's bring this home. We're going to look at our muffin pans, and we're using a stone one, and you want to be sure that if you're not using cupcake papers that you are spraying them with a non-stick spray. After you've done that, spoon in a couple of tablespoons into each well of your muffin pan. This recipe does make about a dozen muffins, so divide that batter out evenly. Next, we're going to make our streusel topping. We melt half a cup of butter, and then to a bowl, we add some brown sugar, plain white sugar, a little bit of cinnamon, and then we take our melted butter and pour it in with those dry ingredients. Now your topping is going to come out a little bit moist, and eventually we're going to add some flour, but before we do that, you're going to want to stir these ingredients until they make almost like a syrup. And then you're going to add your flour. Just add a little bit at a time, about a quarter to a third, and mix it in there. Once you've done that and all of your flour's in, you're going to continue to stir your streusel topping until it becomes crumbly. You almost want it to have a gravel-like consistency. It's going to be a little damp, and that's okay. Now we're going to top the muffins with the streusel. Be sure each muffin gets a good share of it. And then if you like, you can finish it off with some crystallized sugar or some sanding sugar to add a little bit, just an extra layer of flavor. Then bake it at 425 for 5 minutes, and then reduce your oven temperature to 375 and bake it for an additional 17 minutes. And that's all there is to it.
We like this recipe and we think that you will too. Like, subscribe, share, and leave us a comment to let us know what you think.